Most of you know how far Scientology will go to track down, identify, and harass people who criticize them online. One of the ways they do this is by tracking IP addresses. This is exactly what they did to me back in 2010. Protect yourself from David Miscavige and his goon squad with the sponsor of today's video, Atlas VPN. Atlas VPN is a virtual private network that sends all of your internet traffic through a protected, encrypted tunnel. It protects you from spying, Wi-Fi intrusions, and most importantly, David Miscavige's goons. With a single Atlas VPN subscription, you can protect unlimited devices. Right now, with Atlas's Steel Black Friday deal, you can get Atlas VPN Premium for just $1.70 a month, plus 6 months extra with a 30-day money-back guarantee. This is the best Atlas VPN offer of the year, and it is a limited time offer. So be quick and get your deal by clicking on the link in the description down below. People ask how they can support the channel. One of the ways to do that is by supporting our sponsors. So thank you to all of you. Once again, thank you to Atlas VPN. And again, check out the link in the description down below. Now let's talk about Scientologist and keto YouTube sensation, Dr. Eric Berg. I uploaded a video yesterday to this channel titled Dr. Eric Berg retaliates against his son who left Scientology. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link up above. I'll put a link down below. It's definitely worth watching. Now, in that video, mainly what I'm talking about is that Dr. Eric Berg or his wife, Karen Berg, sent Twitter an official legal letter or a legal threat. We don't have an actual copy of it yet, demanding that a report that Ian Rafalko, posted to Twitter. And in the video yesterday, I speculated as to what the reason might be. Could it be that they say the report is true, but it's protected by confidentiality? Or is it because they're saying the report is false and they consider it libel? I think we have actually possibly found the reason they are demanding this letter be taken down. And it has to do with a lawsuit that was filed against Dr. Berg by one of his employees for forcing his employees to do Scientology. And the report that Karen Berg wrote on her husband, Dr. Eric Berg, and it is that report that I discussed in my video yesterday. In that report, Karen inadvertently admits to this illegal criminal behavior that Dr. Berg has of forcing his employees to do Scientology. She admits it. So let me show you the part of the report that I'm talking about. Karen Berg says, Eric is a regular FSM for the org. Now, FSM means field staff member, and that's just Scientology jargon for a public Scientologist who brings other people into Scientology and gets a commission. There's a financial incentive for bringing new people into Scientology. Public who bring other public into Scientology are called field staff members or FSMs. Eric is a regular FSM for the org. The org refers to the Scientology organization in Washington, D.C. He is paying for his daughter's auditing and finances his son, who is on staff at DC Day. Every Scientology organization, well, with some exceptions, is divided up into the day shift and the nights and weekends shift. The day shift in Washington, D.C. is called DC Day. The night shift and weekends shift is called DC Foundation. So DC Day, that just means the day shift. Okay. He continues to flow to the IAS. That just means to donate. Flow means to give money to. And the IAS just means Scientology, International Association of Scientologists. He goes to all events. Last year, he was one of the top booksellers for DC Day, selling hundreds of raw books. Raw books means you're selling a book to someone who's never bought a Scientology book before. And he helped DC Day win the birthday game. The birthday game is a competition all Scientology orgs play against each other to see who can put up the best numbers. He is a WISE member. WISE stands for World Institute of Scientology Enterprises. This is an umbrella. This is an organization that exists within the umbrella of the Church of Scientology International. It's where all of the Scientology business consulting companies are licensed through. WISE has essentially taken L. Ron Hubbard's policies and compiled them into course packs that can be sold to non-Scientologists. In other words, they've tried to take the Scientology out of Scientology and pretend that it's not Scientology and still sell it. So anyway, all Scientology business owners are required to sign up as members of WISE because part of what you're agreeing to when you sign up with WISE is to never sue each other and to take everything to internal arbitration. Okay, he is a WISE member and has all of his staff on training, routing many of them into the org. Guys, that seems like a pretty simple, perhaps innocent sentence. I promise you it is not. Any attorney would be able to use this report as evidence that Scientologists are expected to get people who work for them in their private businesses into Scientology, and that they are given pats on the back and commendations, and they are lauded for using their private companies as recruitment centers for Scientology. In 2017, Brenda Valentine, after years of working for Dr. Berg and after she was terminated, allegedly for not cooperating with attempts to recruit her to Scientology, Brenda filed a complaint with the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And in 2020, the EEOC issued Brenda Valentine a right to sue letter. Brenda Valentine started working for Dr. Berg in 2010. This report that Karen wrote on Dr. Berg is dated 2012. A lawyer could easily use this letter as evidence that it was common practice in Dr. Berg's business to focus on recruiting employees to Scientology, and that information would support, now I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, but it would seem to me that that information would support legal action against Dr. Berg for discrimination on firing employees who were resistant to joining Scientology. Now, there are different levels of WISE membership, and Dr. Berg has one of the elevated levels of membership where he actually operates a Scientology course room on the premises of the company. Now, Berg would probably say, well, it's not a Scientology course room, it's a WISE course room. WISE is Scientology. I'm mentioning these different levels of membership because this report has greater meaning when we take into consideration the fact that Berg's company has its own in-house course room with its own in-house course supervisor that delivers these Scientology-based courses right there on premises. And even though Miss Valentine would be able to do any of these required quote-unquote not really Scientology courses right there on premises, she was still pressured to go to the actual Scientology organization in Washington, D.C. to do actual courses, not just these WISE courses. And here's some of the excerpts from this complaint. Some of this information is just bizarre. For example, throughout her time working for HNWC, by the way, that stands for Health and Wellness Center, which is the name of Dr. Berg's company. Throughout her time working for HNWC, Ms. Valentine would be subjected to auditing type meetings with Dr. Berg at the workplace and during working hours. In a typical meeting, Dr. Berg would invite Ms. Valentine into his office and begin asking a series of spiritual and personal questions. These meetings were face-to-face, held in private, were mandatory, and occurred during working time. During these meetings with Dr. Berg would complain about how he was raised a Christian and how his Christian mother was a hypocrite. He would tell Ms. Valentine about his past lives and how his participation in the Church of Scientology gave him greater knowledge and how everyone has had a past life. During these meetings, Ms. Valentine would explain that her beliefs were Christian and that she did not believe she had a past life. Dr. Berg would respond by claiming to have superior knowledge, which could not be explained based on his own experience, but which could only be explained by the experiences he had in past lives. He claimed to have had past lives as a famous author and a military officer. These meetings would take place approximately 2 to 4 times a month and were mandatory. These meetings sometimes would last somewhere between 20 and 45 minutes. During these meetings, Ms. Valentine was on the clock. These meetings occurred with greater frequency when others were not present. During these meetings, Dr. Berg did most of the talking. The whole scene sounds completely bizarre. I can't help but wonder if he had some sort of button under the desk that would automatically lock the door. Like, it really sounds creepy. It also says there was little or no discussion about Miss Valentine's sales, hours of work, commissions, or performance. The focus of the meetings was on Dianetics, the cosmological alien beings, and reincarnation. I mean, that's just so bizarre, even knowing that Dr. Berg is, talking to her about Scientology. Dr. Berg would press Miss Valentine about whether she could remember her past lives and encourage her to undertake greater commitments to the Church of Scientology. He would press her to attend Scientology classes in Washington, D.C., and would read passages from Scientology books to her. Really bizarre stuff. I can imagine a judge or a panel of arbitrators or a jury or whatever, maybe, it sounds so incredulous. I could imagine them going, what could that possibly be true? But then you look at this report where Karen Berg is saying, all of this wonderful stuff he's doing for Scientology and the local org. He's donating money to the IAS. He's bringing new people into Scientology. He's going to all the events. He sells more books than anyone else. He's a member of WISE, and he has all of his staff on training, and he routes many of them into the org. Karen Berg, until she watches this very video, or perhaps it was when she saw Ian Rafalko had posted the report to Twitter and maybe someone alerted her like, hey, by the way, you know the information in that report, you essentially admit to illegal acts, pressuring your staff to participate in religious training and services and pretending that it's not, but it really is. And you're talking to them about this stuff during work hours, and you're talking to you're basically infringing upon their rights to their own religion on work hours. You know this is illegal, right? So I am speculating that is why Dr. Berg and Karen Berg are sending legal threats to Twitter to get this report taken down. And as far as I'm concerned, that is all the more reason why this report should be spread as far and wide as possible. And again, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. But if you are a past employee of Dr. Berg, and if you feel you were discriminated against, and if you want to take legal action on that subject, just know that this report does exist. You can contact Ian Rafalko. I'm sure he'd be happy to send you an original copy, or however that works. I'll put his social media profiles in the description down below. All right, everyone, that's all I have on this for now. Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe